this subject truly is timeless. It is about you. It is about being alive. It is about discovery. It is about feeling. And it is about that joy that exists in the heart of every human being.
It was a typical British summer day when Prem Rawat was invited to speak at Kensington Palace as part of celebrations taking place across the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth countries to mark the Queen's Diamond Jubilee. A Diamond Jubilee celebrates 60 years of reigning as monarch. Queen Victoria, who lived at Kensington Palace as a young girl, was the only other British monarch to achieve a Diamond Jubilee. The Kensington Palace event was in support of the work of the St John of Jerusalem Eye Hospital, founded by the St John's Knights Hospitallers, a 900-year-old order of chivalry. The Eye Hospital provides essential humanitarian eye care in East Jerusalem, Gaza, and the West Bank, treating over 100,000 patients a year. The Prem Rawat Foundation has been supporting the St John of Jerusalem Eye Hospital for 5 years with eye care grants, especially for children. The audience, including members of the House of Lords, academics, politicians and celebrities, were welcomed into the stateroom of this historic royal palace. The event was opened by its Master of Ceremonies, Paul Bloomfield, a member of the Order of St John. He first spoke of the historic importance of London's physical bridges in connecting people and bringing an explosion in prosperity, before talking about other kinds of less tangible but equally important bridges.
Bridges in life, bridges of humanitarianism, of generosity, of kindness, of peace, and connecting people and cultures, and inspiring and transforming lives. And thus our theme tonight, a bridge to peace. And even though barriers may seem unsurmountable, if we build the bridges of kindness, humanitarianism and peace, I believe that they can be as tangible in their effects as the bridges of London are today.
Now, patients are treated without prejudice, and there is a long history of similar commitment and service from colleagues from the Israeli hospitals, and this is where the concept of the bridge becomes so important. There are many world-class doctors from the Israeli Hadassah Hospital who share their experience with St John, crossing this political divide via this bridge to peace. And I feel that all of these staff and volunteers, in their own and different ways, exhibit the spirit of St John. And what is that? Embodied by a duty of care to the sick, compassion, yes, compassion, acting as servants for the poor, as the brothers did in the 11th century. And so, in summary, we are all this evening fortunate in our own diverse ways, be it through ability, influence, good health, or intellect. And I remember a very favourite saying of my father, which is that to whom much is given, much is expected. And my own favourite saying is that from John Burke, but adapted: the only requirement for hardship to triumph is that good men and women do nothing. We are inspired by the founding order some 900 years ago. Will our descendants a millennium hence look back on us and be similarly inspired by our example? And so this evening is a celebration of St John, of the humanitarian principles which underpin its work, of the spirit of ordinary and extraordinary people committed to the same service of others, irrespective of faith, irrespective of political persuasion, and without prejudice. Thank you.
It gives me great pleasure informing you that the Gandhi Foundation trustees have chosen to award the Gandhi Foundation International Peace Award for 2012 to the St John of Jerusalem Eye Hospital. The trustees felt that the Eye Hospital has been guided by one of the highest forms of humanitarian ideals, that of bringing medical care to an impoverished and politically unstable area. Thank you very much.
It costs us about £6.5 million a year to run the hospital and its clinics. As David said, we treat anybody. So we only recover about 40% of that actually in patient fees. So we're very reliant on grants and donations to balance the books and to expand our provision. And Gaza is an interesting place. And we have a clinic there which was opened 20 years ago this year, actually. It's a very small clinic. Treats around 20,000 people a year. What David didn't mention when he talked about the number of people in the hospital is that no one comes on their own to the hospital out there. No one comes with one accompaniment. The family come. So you get this sort of sea of people, and trying to work out how many patients are actually in that sea is quite difficult. It won't be easy, but we're determined to improve the quality of care we offer in Gaza. It now falls to me to introduce our keynote speaker, Prem Rawat. He formed the Prem Rawat Foundation in 2001 as a platform for peace, to provide critically important basics of life to those most in need, with a special focus on eye care, as well as food and clean water. We're delighted to say that we have benefited, thanks to the executives of the Prem Rawat Foundation, for the last 5 years. The foundation is intrinsically dedicated to peace, non-political and non-denominational. Prem is invited to speak at international forums throughout the world about the possibility of peace. He has dedicated his life to this purpose. Your Royal Highness, Lords, ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce Prem Rawat.
Your Royal Highness, Lords, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here this evening, and particularly talking about the subject of peace. You've already heard wonderful things that are being done by St. John's to help people. And I will just throw in a little bit about peace. We have Prem Rawat Foundation, and Prem Rawat Foundation truly believes in prosperity, peace, and dignity. So we really don't feel that it is out of place when we talk about peace, even in such a context. So maybe it is time to very simply put what is peace. I mean, I am not going to make a very sophisticated case for it, because I think everybody feels that need in their lives. Because in my travels, when I come to people, it doesn't matter if they're rich, if they're poor. That's what they want in their lives. They want peace. But what they get instead is all these wars, all these ideas that they do not actually want. One time, a whole bunch of very important people were put in a room to come to some conclusion about some state policy, and they were all arguing with each other. Each one of them was making his own argument and just going at it. And there was somebody in the room, and he turned to a man who was sitting very quietly, and he said, "Do you think they will ever reach a consensus?" He said, "Oh yeah, they will. They definitely will reach a consensus." He goes, "When?" He says, "At lunchtime." Because we can have all different ideas, but when there is a need, it supersedes theories and philosophies and ideas and ideals, because it says, this is important, this is necessary. What have we learned? Where's the evolvement? Where is the true human being? The crown of creation, acting worse than the very beings it's supposed to be ahead of. And when I see in people like you the interest to have peace, it is truly a very elating feeling. Have you ever flown into London at night? It looks beautiful, all lit up. Beautiful. But have you ever thought for a moment, what are you looking at? You're looking at individual bulbs. One, another one, another one, another one. All coming together and making that show. But it is each one. This is the basic foundations. We are the foundations of peace. We are the foundations of war. We have to be the foundations of peace. The peace that I talk about, is not just absence of war. You know, you've heard so much about the eye hospital. If a patient comes and says, "Doctor, my eye is hurting, and I cannot see out of it," what will the doctor do? So, well, here, let me just give you this pain medication and go away, and that's it. The doctor's approach is, let's find out what is wrong. Because an eye hurting is not normal. The doctor could say, well, of course, it's normal. In your situation, it's normal, so fine, go away. No! Eye hurting is not normal. Not being able to see out of it is not normal. Let's find the problem. And then, diagnosis. And once the diagnosis is confirmed, followed by treatment. And the outcome? Can see, hopefully, can see, and no more pain. Wars in this world, that's a symptom. That's a symptom. The cause is something else. Have you ever seen an ocean? When it's raging, big waves. And have you seen an ocean when it's calm? It's the same ocean. What's the difference? When there are factors like the wind agitating over a long period of time the surface of the ocean, the waves build. But when those factors are removed, believe it or not, the state of ocean in being normal is calm. Same way, when I talk about peace, I'm talking about the individual inner peace. So social peace will follow. Social peace will follow only when the individual peace establishes itself. There's a lot of bad in this world, and there is a lot of good in this world. Anybody who is trying to pursue the awakening of peace has to address the good. As one of the programs that the Prem Rawat Foundation has is reaching out to people who are in prisons. And we've had a phenomenal success, really phenomenal success, reaching out to people in prison. And these people have done what is wrong. But what has been really amazing is that the institutions around these facilities, around prisons, are starting to recognize the change in these people. And the change is of fundamental nature, where they are changing, not pretending to change, but they actually are changing and finding that to be more freeing than anything else. How can that be? I, at the beginning of this year, actually went to one of the prison facilities to speak to them, to see them. Somebody got up, one of the kids got up, and he said, "You know, I never smiled." And everybody would tell me, "You better smile if you want people to like you." But I couldn't bring myself up to smile. And he said, "Since I have been in the program that the foundation puts out, I've been smiling." To make a human being complete, then the most wonderful things begin to happen. Peace is not an unreachable goal by any stretch of the imagination. It is each person recognizing their strength. What is the quality of a lit lamp? The quality of a lit lamp is that it can light other lamps. An unlit lamp cannot light other lamps regardless of how much it tries. But a lit lamp can light other unlit lamps. Light yourself with understanding of peace, with the goodness that exists in your heart, in your being, for the most noblest of causes on the face of this earth. Peace. This is our time. Best foot forward, and everything we can do to make it possible. We have to. After all, do we have a choice? I don't think so. Thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you.
After the event, key speakers and attendees expressed their perspectives on the themes of the day, including the president of the Prem Rawat Foundation, Linda Piscotto, who spoke of the foundation's support for the St. John's Eye Hospital.
And the founder, Mr. Prem Rawat, has acknowledged the work that they're doing and feels that it is a bridge for peace when people can come together and help one another without regards for politics, without regards for culture, without regards for anything else.
We can make a difference by looking inside us and by finding peace in ourselves. That peace kind of radiates out into the world, which is a very empowering message.
It appealed to me enormously, the theme of the evening. I absolutely believe in peace. The way I was raised, the way I raised my children is to appreciate and understand all cultures and beliefs. And my personal belief is that the divine is within, and that if we can only access that independently and then spread it out as to people we touch in our lives, and hope that people can do that there is a chance for peace in this world. And I want peace in this world more than anything. And I do believe that you can't have peace in the world until you find peace within.
What was it about this particular hospital in the Holy Land that attracted your attention and the Prem Rawat Foundation's attention? Why this place? Why put money towards this sort of...
I think what they're doing is really amazing. I mean, in the face of all the stuff that's going on in that area, because at one point in time, it was what it was, and people were displaced, and it has brought so much problem for the areas, and to go in the midst of all these problems and to reach people who really need that attention, who need that care. We really felt that was a very noble cause, because, sometimes people get caught up in the politics of it and the controversies of it and so on and so forth. But to cut that out, put that aside and say, look, we need to reach out to people. That's why I think the Prem Rawat Foundation was really attracted by this, so that we can reach the people. I mean, this is, in a way, what Prem Rawat Foundation's goal really is, to get the help where it's really needed. And not just to rely on systems, but to really make sure that those people who need it get it.
When you talk about need, you talk a lot about inner peace. Is this something that we all knew as children and forgot? Why is it so difficult for the world to find peace if it's already inside of us?
I truly believe that when you look at it on a very simple level, and everywhere I go, people love the idea of peace. They know what it is. They want it. They want it. There's no question about it. But what it seems to them is like it's such an impossible task to get through all the stuff that exists out there. And most of it has to do with people's mentality of saying war is easier, peace is more difficult. But it's not true. It's the other side of the same coin. And on one side, yes, you have war, and it is made by people. It is made by people. People create wars. People, if they want, can create the peaceful environment as well.
All right, last question. You talked about you believe it's possible. You talked about each one of us being a light. There are a lot of doomsdayers out there who think things have gotten much worse, they're going to get much worse, and that it's all downhill from here. Are they right?
Well, if we don't awaken, then that's what's going to happen. Because to me, if you're going to drive with your eyes closed, something nice is not going to happen. That's why we need to open our eyes, be alert, be aware. Because we can make it happen. There is people power. I truly believe that people, if they want to do this, they can do it. I don't think there is a barrier to human potential.